What began as a forgotten journal and a cursed inheritance has become something else entirely. They call it myth, folklore, fiction. But now, there are names, faces, voices too afraid to speak, until now. This is no longer a story, this is evidence. In the months following the Breckenridge evacuation, a flurry of rumors began circulating. First in fringe forums, then in paranormal circles, then, quietly, in back rooms of regional newsrooms. There were videos, clips, interviews, each more unsettling than the last. None of them officially recognized, all of them dismissed, but none of them fully explainable. It began with a 32-second clip uploaded anonymously to a now-deleted Reddit thread titled, "I Heard Her Singing Where the Trail Ends." The video showed the interior of a forest, dense early evening light filtering through spruce and aspen. The wind was dead still, but in the distance, faintly, a woman's voice, not speaking, humming. Something melodic, but arrhythmic, like a lullaby with no origin. The sound rose and fell in unnatural cadences, as if mimicking the wind but just slightly off. Frame-by-frame analysis would later reveal that, during the final 7 seconds of the clip, a figure appears briefly in the underbrush, stationary, upright, but blurred beyond the capacity of natural motion blur, as if the camera itself recoiled. 2 weeks later, a park ranger from the Arapaho National Forest submitted an anonymous voice message to a regional podcast that covers unsolved wilderness disappearances. In it, he says, "I don't know what happened in Breckenridge, and I don't want to. But we started seeing things, markers carved into trees, circles, spirals. No trails lead to them, and they always come in sets of 5. 5 symbols, 5 founding families, 5 keepers of the pact." When asked why he wouldn't go on record, the ranger replied, "Because every time I mention it at the station, someone from the tourism board shows up, and they always know my name." Then came the drone footage. A wildlife photographer hiking west of Quandary Peak claimed to have lost signal to his drone mid-flight. When it finally reconnected, it sent back 3 seconds of corrupted footage, followed by a single, clear aerial image. The shot showed a clearing, roughly circular, no visible trail in, no trail out. But at its center stood 5 dark figures, not moving, not blurred, just still, looking up. The GPS data placed the location directly between Breckenridge and the site of the original founder crypt collapse. The coordinates were scrubbed from the metadata before the footage reached the public. But the photographer, he hasn't posted since. Another video surfaced, night vision, uploaded by a self-proclaimed urban explorer investigating abandoned ghost towns in Colorado. The man's voice trembles as he whispers, "I don't think this is a ghost town. I think someone's still living here." He enters a collapsed structure. Floorboards creak under his steps. He pans right. Dust swirls. Then, a noise. Not from within the house. From beneath it. Knocking. Rhythmic. 5 taps. A pause. Then 5 again. As he descends into what appears to be a root cellar, his flashlight captures something carved into the stone wall. Bind what lives. Feed what sleeps. Bleed to keep the video cuts out moments later. No final statement. No scream. Just static. Of course, these clips could be dismissed as hoaxes, digital manipulation, fabricated backstories, and for most people, they are. Because officially, the town of Breckenridge issued a statement through its tourism board on April 3rd of this year. There is no crypt. There was no collapse. The town remains safe, vibrant, and committed to Colorado's rich historical legacy. Any rumors suggesting otherwise are false and harmful to our community. That same week, an independent blogger who posted a video questioning the official narrative was issued a cease and desist by the Breckenridge Historical Society. Their claim? Spreading folklore that discourages tourism. The blogger deleted the video, but in the quiet corners of digital archives, more continues to surface. Faceless accounts, untraceable audio clips, grainy film reels passed from hand to hand. One audio log, believed to have been recorded inside a locked maintenance tunnel beneath the original mine, captures breathing. Not a person. Several, panting, unnatural, too close together. The voice recording ends with a phrase muttered in a voice too old to belong to the young man who allegedly made it. We remember. We are the roots now, and you were always part of us. So what is truth? What is fabrication? Where does folklore end and evidence begin? Perhaps the better question is, why is someone so eager to bury it all? Breckenridge may have reopened to tourists, but behind its restored facades, between the smiling shop owners and cozy ski lodges, there is a silence that hums beneath the snow. Some visitors say they hear whispering wind on the gondola. Others say a stranger in period clothing walked past them and vanished into nothing. And a few, very few, return home with something unshakable. An image, a sound, a presence that follows them through their dreams. When asked to describe it, they don't say a ghost. They don't say a legend. They say, it knew who I was before I ever stepped foot there, like I was expected. You've just witnessed segment 13 of Colorado's Breckenridge Pact, a ghost town bound by blood. But the tape isn't done playing yet, because what happens when a secret this old finds new ground to grow? Someone is rebuilding what was lost. And this time, they're not using old families. They're using us. Subscribe to MindFuel. Because what's coming next? You're already part of it. You just don't know it yet. They thought they had buried it, with timber, with stone, with silence. For more than a century, the story of Breckenridge's founding pact had been confined to whispered lineage, crumbling journals, and the kind of local folklore no one prints in travel brochures. But folklore has a strange way of becoming geological, when it's been layered deep enough beneath the surface. What lies beneath the streets of Breckenridge was never meant to be unearthed. And yet, the ground has begun to speak. It started as a routine environmental assessment, filed under a federal land development request intended to expand a ski resort access road. 2 geologists were sent to survey the region just south of the collapsed Founder Crypt. They brought ground-penetrating radar and seismic sensors. They expected fault lines, maybe some old ore veins. What they found was none of that. Instead, their sensors recorded something else, something living, something moving, down, very deep. At first, they thought it was interference, static artifacts caused by mining runoff or groundwater. But the patterns weren't random. The pulses came in a rhythm, every 12 hours on the mark. And then, once more, just before the moon shifted to its full cycle. One of the geologists, Dr. Elias Hartwell, kept a private field journal, never submitted to the agency. It was discovered posthumously, after his disappearance, by a cousin who uploaded scanned entries online. In it, he wrote, "The soil here is hot, not geothermal, but wrong, as if something was burnt into it long ago and refuses to cool. We detected an air void under Sector 3. The radar bounced back, strange contours, sharp angles, not natural. They look carved." He attached hand-sketched diagrams, among them a 5-pointed radial structure with branching lines, not unlike a root system, or a nervous system, or both. Hartwell wasn't alone in his findings. His partner, Dr. Marissa Vale, submitted an encrypted audio log to a university colleague. It wasn't decrypted until after her file was marked terminated, unresponsive to recall. In the recording, her voice is tight, forced, measured in breath, as if she's inside a space that doesn't allow for full volume. There's something in the rock, beneath the sediment embedded in the shale. A layer of organic material, like charcoal, but denser. The bones are black, hundreds of them. She pauses. There's a scraping noise in the background. Then, clearer, they were arranged, not scattered, aligned, facing downward. They extracted one piece, what they believed to be a pelvic bone, and sent it to a forensic anthropologist in Boulder. The lab result was sealed, but a whistleblower later leaked a portion of the internal memo. It read, "Sample contains abnormal mineralization. Structure appears subhuman in dimension. Estimated age, undetermined. Recommending sample destroyed. Do not pursue further excavation." But they did. 2 days later, they drilled deeper. The footage from the borehole camera was corrupted beyond recovery, all except for the final 10 frames. In it, the lens pans over what appears to be a chamber, roughly 15 feet wide, walls coated in dark film, and carved along the entire interior surface over and over again, in looping spirals and slanted symbols. It sleeps to keep us, it wakes to claim us. Dr. Hartwell sent a final transmission to a private voicemail, likely not meant for public release. The timestamp, 2:46 a.m., 31 minutes before he went missing. His voice is calm, but distant, like a man watching a fire spread too far to contain. I've seen the pulses. They're syncing with the lunar cycle. Every blood moon. The readings spike, I think. It's breathing, beneath us. I think we were never supposed to survive the pact, just feed it. A long pause, then, faintly, it's waking again. The area was closed off 2 days later. No official reason given. But satellite thermal imaging, retrieved through an open-source community, shows something anomalous. An underground heat signature, shaped like a tree. 5 branching limbs, each limb stretching beneath a different part of Breckenridge's foundation. And at the center, a pulsing core, red, consistent, alive. Locals report new cracks forming in basements, weird power surges, a humming in the walls. Skiers report sudden nosebleeds at high altitude. Hikers describe flashes of memory from lives that aren't theirs. And a man was found standing on Main Street barefoot, eyes open, whispering names that match the original town census from 1874. He had never been to Colorado before, and yet, the town continues to grow. New businesses open, new families move in. Because the Breckenridge Tourism Board insists there's nothing beneath, nothing to fear, and nothing unusual about the sound that sometimes rises from the manholes during the full moon. But the blood moons are coming faster now, closer together. The next is scheduled within days. And the pulses? They're no longer every 12 hours. They're hourly. You've just heard segment 14 of Colorado's Breckenridge Pact, a ghost town bound by blood. But you haven't heard the last of what's underneath. A new root system is spreading through new towns, new names, new hosts. Breckenridge was only the beginning. Subscribe to MindFuel, because what you thought was buried is already beneath your feet. The town of Breckenridge may still be standing, but its soul was sold long ago. The sale didn't happen on paper. There were no records filed with the state, no handshakes or signatures, only whispers and blood poured into the soil during a winter when hope had frozen solid in the veins of men. They say every town has a history, but Breckenridge doesn't have a history. It has a contract, written beneath its streets, in ash and in silence. The residents move like anyone else. They wave from porches, shovel snow, attend ribbon cuttings, but ask the wrong question in the wrong place, especially near dusk, and you'll see the glaze come over their eyes. A momentary slip, as if something behind them is watching through the skin. It's never wise to linger too long in Breckenridge, especially if you're not from there, especially if you're alone. There are signs now that the pact was never meant to stay bound within the valley. Recent drone footage over the foothills revealed symbols burned into the frost. Massive ones, old ones. The patterns mimic the carvings found in the underground chamber. What was once assumed to be contained has begun to spread. Witnesses from nearby towns, Silverthorne, Alma, even parts of Leadville, have described echoes in the wind. A scream carried through pine trees when there's no wind at all, or worse, a sound like breath, so close it feels like it's behind your ear. One woman recorded what she heard one night just past midnight on a ridge outside Blue River. The audio was sent to a linguist who confirmed it matched no known human dialect. But the waveform, it repeated in a 5-beat pulse, exactly like the root structure diagram from segment 14. Some believe the ritual was never fully broken in segment 11, that it only relocated, moved deeper, changed form, and others, the ones who claim to have seen what walks under the frost line, swear this isn't about a town, it's about the land. Breckenridge was merely a gate, a place where something older than history was bound, and every so often, fed. The name doesn't matter, the soil doesn't care, and neither do the ones waiting beneath it. If you go to Breckenridge today, you'll see the same postcard shots you'd expect. Ski chalets, snow-kissed rooftops, laughter echoing from restaurants on Main Street. But listen carefully. Stand still, and let the quiet fall over you. Somewhere, just beyond hearing, there's still a sound, faint but insistent. A heartbeat, coming not from your chest, but from the ground below your feet. Thudding, slow, relentless. And if you stay long enough, it might sync with your own. So ask yourself, was the town cursed? Or did it become something else entirely, something willing, something hungry? You won't find the answers in the brochures. You won't find them on the trail maps. But some say if you close your eyes on the ridge above the founder's crypt, you might see it. A shadow that isn't cast. A presence that isn't there when you open your eyes again. But once you've seen it, you're already marked. This has been segment 15, Call to Action and Final Chill, the conclusion of Colorado's Breckenridge Pact, a ghost town bound by blood. But this story isn't over, it's only changing locations. If you think this tale was chilling, wait until you hear what's lurking in New Mexico. There are places where even the shadows are scared to stretch, where the wind carries names no one remembers speaking aloud, and where ancient ruins pulse with something that never truly left. The nightmare spreads, one forgotten town at a time. Subscribe to MindFuel. Fuel your nightmares with every new upload. And remember, some stories don't wait to be told. They find you before you realize you've become part of the next one.